When would you expect a markup of the Clarity bill?
Now that we might have to consider war funding. We are embroiled in how to deal with the SAVE Act. I'm hoping we'll get to mark up either right before the Easter break or right after, and hopefully have a product out of the Senate Banking Committee before the end of April. But the deeper it gets into the year, Maria, the more challenging it's going to be for us to get this across the finish line, which is why I'm encouraging my Democrat colleagues to get us their final product so we can move forward.
That's Wyoming Senator and Digital Assets Chairwoman Cynthia Lummis with me this last week on this program with an update on the status of digital asset legislation. The Clarity Act, the Trump-backed effort to set broader rules for U.S. crypto markets, is nearing a political deadline in Congress. Banks are pressing lawmakers and regulators to block stablecoin companies from offering rewards which resemble interest on deposit accounts at the banks. Joining me now is North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer, a member of the Senate Banking Committee. And Senator, it's great to see you. Welcome back.
Great. It's good to be back, and it's hard to improve on what Cynthia Lummis says about this topic, let me tell you.
Yeah, exactly. So where does it stand? What do you want to say to those people thinking, well, maybe the crypto platforms are winning here? Are they winning in terms of paying rewards? Or do you agree that they shouldn't be paying rewards because it's competition for the banks?
Yes, so you laid it out perfectly. I think we need to get to something. We need a U.S. guardrails, the type of guardrails that clearly delineate between commodities and securities, that clearly delineate between traditional banking and non-traditional banking. The rules of the road have to be clarified for the security of our, by the way, of our financial institutions. That they're not unimportant in this debate, obviously. We have a wonderful legacy of diverse financial institutions, from credit unions and community banks all the way to the big ones. And so we need to look out for that. But we also, though, cannot allow digital assets and digital industry to go overseas, go offshore, lose that innovative edge that is clearly an American edge if we do it right. So I think Cynthia's right on point. Time is not our friend when we get much past Easter and get deeper into this political year. So I think we need to have the right guardrails. I think one of our banking committee members says it best. We know we did the right thing when they all dislike us the same.
Yeah.
And so we have to find that middle ground.
But I'm just wondering, I mean, is this going to lead you all to have to open the Genius Act to change language there? I mean, is that an issue right now?
Yeah, so you're right on a very specific point. That deals with the yields or the interest on the assets and who can offer those and who cannot. And, you know, the bankers feel like there's a loophole in Genius that allows the third parties, the intermediaries, the PayPals of the world, if you will, to pay on those assets. Perhaps that would be a way to go if we just clarified that. I think, though, we don't want to do, Maria, is miss this moment. While time is somewhat of the essence,
right.
We did do the housing bill that is behind us. We are on the Save America Act this week. That will take some oxygen, but we can do two things at the same time, and certainly the committee can. So yeah. I think we have to make this a committee priority for sometime just before Easter or shortly after.
Okay, so you've got that sort of looking forward just before Easter or very close to it. You're dealing with this potential defense supplemental. $50 billion yes. is like the floor, right? It could be much more than that. You're dealing with the SAVE Act. You've got to get the Department of Homeland Security open. First off, on the $50 billion defense, are you cool with that? Is that the number, or is it much higher?
Well, I think that's the number to start with for sure, Maria, but remembering that we are also entering the budgeting season for defense. So whatever we're going to do, we also need to raise the baseline to reflect the 40-year peace dividend that we've taken, much at the expense of modernization of our own military. So what we're seeing is how great our military is. We're also seeing what our vulnerabilities are, and our opportunities to modernize are right now. So I think it's multiple tiers tiers, maybe multiple tiers all put into one big bill. Whatever it is, I'm comfortable with $50 billion, and I do think that will be adequate for the task right in front of us.
All right, I got to get your take on two issues, the SAVE Act and Kevin Warsh. Now, the Senate's set to do this test vote to begin debate on the Save America Act. If the Senate votes to proceed, days of debate on the voter ID legislation will follow. What do you think happens here, Senator?
Yeah, so I think John Thune has found a sweet spot in the Save America Act where he allows us to bring it to the floor with a simple majority. That has to do with how it comes to us from the House. They figured that out. That's important because getting on the bill is really important. Because what's even more important then is debate on the bill. Because when the American people hear the Republican side of this debate, it's an 80-20 at least issue for us. Basic things like having an identification when you vote, being able to prove that you're a citizen of the United States. Two fundamental issues. Beyond that, it gets a little wonkier. It gets very, gets rather detailed. But I think we need to have this debate in front of the American people. I think it becomes more popular the more we debate it. And so I think you're going to see multiples of days, as to your point. At the same time, we also know that the American attention span is much shorter than it used to be. So we have to get to the debate, have it quickly. Take the vote, and maybe we bring some people along if we find, again, a sweet spot that identifies the low-hanging fruit here, which I think are the basics. Voter identification and proof of citizenship. Those should not be difficult things for us to pass.
And I spoke with John Fetterman yesterday, and weeks ago I thought he was on board. He said, "Look, I agree that proof of citizenship should be there before you vote." But then when I spoke to him yesterday, he said, "I can't get behind this bill." And I'm wondering if sort of there's too much stuff in it at this point. But I want to get your take also on Kevin Warsh, because there is real concern that this Warsh nomination process is now on pause. Look, the Federal Reserve is kicking off its two-day meeting today. It's widely expected to hold interest rates steady. Economists are warning that, consumers should not expect rate cuts in the near term, especially ahead of a potential leadership change. The real headline here is the president's nominee, Kevin Warsh. He's set to replace Jay Powell. We don't know when a confirmation hearing is happening, and we know what's taken place here. Judge Boasberg dismissed the Powell subpoenas. The DOJ appeals it. Judge Janine says she's going to appeal this, and as soon as she says she's going to appeal it, Tom Tillis came out with another post on social media saying that he's going to continue to block Kevin Warsh. And then there were unsealed documents, court documents, that were suggesting that Powell could actually stay beyond the end of his term. What about that, Senator? I mean, are you expecting a confirmation hearing in the month of March?
Well, the sooner the better, Maria. I don't think there should be one moment of time between the end of Jay Powell's term and the beginning of Kevin Warsh's term. I think when you have the vote, he's an easy pass. I understand Senator Tillis's point, but I think Judge Boasberg, and I'm not a fan, by the way, and I know plenty of his positions, but I think he's almost handed us a gift if we're willing to take it, and that is let's get rid of this issue with Jay Powell and move forward with a new Fed chair and a very good one, I might add. I mean, Kevin Warsh is the man for the moment, not just because he's Donald Trump's person, but because he's uniquely equipped, I think, for this time.
Well, I know that he's been having one-on-one meetings with members of the Senate Banking Committee. Have you met with him one-on-one?
I have, and I was more impressed than I even thought I would be, and I was expecting to be just looking at his resume and the body of work and his positions. I think he's exactly what we need at this moment. I think there's reason for lots of Democrats to support Kevin Warsh.
But you need Tom Tillis's vote. He says he's going to keep this up. So again, I ask you, is Kevin Warsh's confirmation hearing on pause right now until this investigation into Powell goes away?
Well, unless Tom Tillis has changed his mind or something has happened that would cause that to happen, it is. But unless we can get a Democrat to support in committee, but I just think as long as we're at a deadlock, Democrats don't have any incentive to help. And I understand that. If I was in their position, I might do the same thing. But we do need Kevin Warsh as Fed chairman soon. So I'm urging Tom Tillis, I'm urging Judge Janine, and I'm urging the president, anybody to break the logjam and let's have this hearing and have a markup and get him on, get him confirmed.
If you're not able to block this logjam, is there a chance that Jay Powell stays beyond May 15th?
Yeah, I don't know about that, Maria. I'd have to be convinced by lawyers that that's absolutely the case. But even avoid, there's got to be somebody that is acting as a chair, and it's hard to imagine any big moves being made by the Fed in this sort of moment of uncertainty. Uncertainty's never good, I don't think, either in business investment or in government. So. It's incumbent upon us to get our job done. I don't know what the status is as far as the committee's schedule, but Tom Tillis and right now Judge Janine sort of hold the cards.
All right. We'll be watching you work on this, Senator. It's great to talk with you about it. We so appreciate your leadership. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Maria.
All right, Kevin Cramer on Capitol Hill. We'll be right back.